What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Coding Privacy. So in this video what we're going to do is we are going to create a check button application. So in the last video we have seen that what we did is we created three check buttons, and then there were three labels on the bottom side, and there was a button. So when you click on a button, and if the buttons are checked, then it will show if they are checked in the form of ones and zeros, right? So now what we want to do is let's suppose that the first option and the third option, if someone selects, then I want to say it's a correct answer, and if the person selects random channel anyhow, then it's a wrong answer, right? Incorrect answer. So that is what I want to do. So for that, there's one thing which I left to show you in the last video, which is, so this is exactly what we did in the last video. So it's the same to same, and then we're going to modify this code a little bit and then work it around. Okay, so let's say, so what we are going to do, what we are doing here is we are taking the value from variable 1, and then this is variable 2, this is variable 3, which are associated with each of the check buttons. But let's say it's a huge application, and then I won't be able to remember that the variable 1 is associated with the check button 1 or not, right? So what we can do here is that we can put the variable, like attach the variable with the widget variable itself. I'll show you. So check 1 dot where is equal to where 1. So what I did is that check 1 is the variable which contains a whole check button, right, with its properties and everything. So check 1 dot variable, so it will show that check 1 has a variable which is where 1. So where 1 has been transferred to check 1 dot where. I'll do the same with this one. Check 2 dot where is equal to where 2, and then check 3 dot where is equal to where 3. Okay, put a space between those just to clear it out. So this is how we can use it. So now instead of this, what I can do is check 1 dot where dot get. Same here, check 2 dot where dot get, and then check 3 dot where dot get. So here you don't need to remember the variable of the string variable or the integer variable that we have used, but you just need to remember the variable of the check button. So if you know the specific check button, then you can get the value of its variable. So this is really important, I believe, because you are not going to remember a lot of stuff when you are going to create, I would say, medium range application. This one is a pretty basic application for now. So now, as we discussed, we are going to say if the answer is correct or not. Okay, so first thing first, what we are going to do is we are going to change these things to its default values, because we tweaked it a little bit, right? So we what we did is we created the opposite of it. So now if I click on the check button, it should be 1, and if I deselect it, it should be 0, right? So that is what I want to do, and we'll keep these strings variables same, like, so the first one and the third one is an integer variable and the third one is a string variable, just so that I can show you how to work around with that thing as well. Okay, and now we do not need 3 labels, we just need 1 label, which I would say response, and that's it. Okay, let's put it a little bit below, right? And then I'm gonna delete this stuff for now. Okay, so the function is empty, and now what I want is so I'm gonna get the values, and it's an if condition basically. So if check 1 dot where dot get, right, is equal to 1, okay, and this comes in parenthesis, and then and then there is again a parenthesis and there is again a condition. Okay, so the 3 conditions which are going to come, and then check 2 dot where dot get is equal to no input, right? So this thing should not be selected, this thing should be selected, and this thing should be selected, right? So I would say this no input, and check3 dot where dot get is equal to 1. So this says that the check one variable value is 1, and then check 2 variable value is no input, and the check 3 variable value is 1. So if this situation arises, then I want to say response, please change your text to the correct answer. And if this does not happen, so I would say else response, please change your text to incorrect answer. Okay, I like the exclamatory signs. Okay, so this is what we have done. Pretty simple, right? Now when I click on this thing, I would say an error. Okay, because I have not written text is equal to here. I need to mention which option I'm changing, right? I forgot that part. So now when I click on this one, I say it says incorrect answer. Definitely I click on this one, it's incorrect. But when I deselect this one, so this both the answers are correct, right? So now it's saying is correct answer. So this is how you can exactly use the check button in an application. So this is basically a small check button app, we can say, because there's a one question and then there are three options, and then you click on submit button, and then let's say you are creating an application where the first page is this, and then when you press on submit, it's a correct answer, then you move on to the next question and you can create a quiz game, right? So this is one portion of a quiz game, and then you can create a bigger version out of this, right? Maybe we are going to create a quiz game in the next upcoming videos, right? So comment below if you want that, and we'll see if we can do that, right? So correct answer, this is one way of doing it. I also have another approach to do that. So this is approach 1, where I've used the if and else condition. But let's say there are many check buttons, like I would say 15 check buttons, right? So I'll have to write this condition 15 times, and it will go way out of my line, right? So what I can do here other than that is I can store all the variables into a list. Let's say, okay, so into a list, and then I can also write all the correct answers into a list. So the first correct answer is 1, the second one is, I guess, no input with N and I as capital, yes, and then 1. Okay, so I have the list of variables, but I don't want the list of variables because variables are the object. I want the value, I want its value, right? So I'll fetch the value, I'll place it in a list. Okay, so it's a dynamic variable, right? So even if I mentioned it above here, but when I'll change it while my application is running, if I'll change it in this check button, or like via this check button, when I click it, this where 1, where 2, where 3 gets changed, right? So if I change it over here, it will definitely get reflected over here. Okay, because the reference value, like the reference value is same, if you know. So that is the reason dynamic variables work great in these kind of applications. And now what we can do is we're going to comment this code first, because this is the approach 1, and now what we're going to do is an approach 2. Okay, so we can apply a follow for I in range. So the follow should be from 0 to the length of any of the list. Okay, so let's say I write correct answer. So this is the list, I'm fetching the length of it, so its length is 0, 1 and 2. Okay, so it should go from 0 to 2, and while it's going from 0 to 2, if the correct answer ith value is not equal to the where's ith value. So the moment it's not, we're gonna say the negation, put the negation condition, because if it's equal to the where's index value, like both the index of both the list value is same, then it's a correct answer. But the moment it is not same, we are going to say flag is equal to 1. So here we are going to mention flag is equal to 0, and here we are going to say flag is equal to 1. Okay, so flag is equal to 1, and after that we are going to print it, and before printing we say if the flag is equal to 0. So if the flag remains 0, then we want this text, right? It's a correct answer basically. And then else it's an incorrect answer, right? So I hope it's pretty clear for you guys. So what I've done is flag is equal to 0 is the variable I have used, and then I am looping from 0 to the length of the list, and then while I'm looping it, I'm checking the conditions. So the moment the index value, like the correct answers, let's say 0th value of the correct answer is not equal to the 0th value of where's list, then its flag is equal to 1, because it's an incorrect answer, right? All the values of this list should be same. We are basically matching two of the lists. If two lists are totally same, then it's a correct answer. If the two lists are totally same, it's not going to go into this if condition, and then if it's not going to go into if condition, the flag is going to remain as 0. And then we are going to check if the flag is 0, the response widget is going to update its text as the correct answer, otherwise incorrect answer, right? So this is another way where you can directly mention your variables and your responses in a single list and then use it. So let's try it out first if it's working or not, right? So I press this one and I submit. Incorrect answer, just as expected. Incorrect, but now, oh, it says incorrect now also. So what is the thing that we have done which is wrong? So here what I did is I am directly fetching the value, and finally what I'm storing in the list is a string, right? So I'm putting the var1.get, which is the exact value. See, what I want to pass is an object, not the value, because the moment I pass the object, I can get the object's value anytime it's updated. But the moment I just directly get the value of it, I cannot, like, the value is, if the value gets changed after some time, I'm not going to get the value, because I got the string, not the object reference, right? I hope you guys get it. So if you still not get it, I just put a comment below, and I would happily share the extra information for that one. But so what we need to do here is that we only need to pass the variable object. So I have passed the variable object in the list. So the list now contains these three variables, string variables, which are going to change after some time, and then you're going to check if the correct answer list matches with the where's, right? So here we come again, and then now what I want to do is where's I get the object over here now, and now I fetch the value using .get. Okay, so here the string is already written, and here there is an object. So in each indices I get the object, and then I get the string of it. Okay, makes sense? And now let's try it. Why won't it work, right? So incorrect, and correct, right? So finally, this is a very small portion app of a check button, which does exactly what check buttons are used for. And there are two approaches which I've shown you. The first one you can use if there are less check buttons, pretty much easy. You just need to use the if conditions, and the second ones are used when I don't know why this happens. Okay, the second ones are used when you have a lot of check buttons and then you directly keep the values inside a list and then you directly match the list. So the code would be same even if the checkbox buttons increases. Okay, the number of checkbox increases. So that is all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Hit the like button if you like it and then subscribe for more like this. My name is Harsh Patel. I'm from codingprivacy.com. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.